3 years after the breakup, I was managing a luxury lingerie boutique. Su Yanli came in with his new girlfriend topic out an anniversary gift. The girl, holding his arm, pointed to a rack of offless nightgowns and asked me which Onido men usually prefer. Sis, I introduced her without batting an eye. She tried on the first one, said the strap was loose, and asked me to go in and adjust it. Trying on the second one, she said the back wouldn't fasten, so I offered to help. When trying on the third piece, she asked from behind the curtain in a sweet voice, "Ali, do it look good?" Su Yanli was sitting on the sofa, but his gaze was fixed on me. "She has better taste than you." The girl smile grew even sweeter. Then, "Sister, pick another outfit for me to wear tonight, just for Ali to see." The shop fell silent for a few seconds. Both sales associates nearby turned to look at me. I still held the black velvet hanger in my hand, the strapless nightgown hanging down, its lace trim swaying slightly. Su Rue stood behind the fitting room curtain, a pale shoulder peeking out. She seemed quite pleased with the scene. After all, Su Yanli was sitting on the sofa, and I am the one who adjusts her straps, fastens her back, and hands her the latest styles. She deliberately softened the words. I'll wear it for Ollie tonight, letting the final syllable linger like honey on her tongue. I hung the hanger back on the silver display rod and smiled professionally. Miss Xia has fair skin, so cool-toned pink will brighten her complexion. If you want something a bit more special, you could go with this dark green silk set. The straps are detachable, and it pairs well with a robe. An anniversary gift doesn't be about whether a man will like it. I looked up at her. Feeling comfortable in what you wear is important. 2. The smile on Su Rue's face froze for half a second. Su Yanli was looking at me. 3 years apart, and he looked even more like someone straight off the cover of a finance magazine. Dressed in a charcoal gray suit, his wristwatch gleaming coolly, his brow bone sharp. Even his posture as he sat on the luxury boutique sofa carried an air of casual, effortless elegance. But I remember 3 years ago, he would also wear a wrinkled white shirt revising his business plan in the tiny room I rented in the urban village. He didn't have such an expensive watch back then, only an old computer that's been used for a long time. I came home from the night shift to find him asleep, slumped over the small table, a cold cup of instant noodles sitting beside his hand. I didn't want to wake him, so I crouched down and took off my high heels. He suddenly woke up, grabbed my ankle, and frowned as he asked, "Stood all day again?" Back then, I was working as a fragrance sales associate on the first floor of the mall, later transferred Toa lingerie brand. The first time I got a big commission, I took him out for Japanese food. He just stared at the brand Nami on my badge, silent for a long time. "Sure, could you consider changing jobs in the future? Why, selling these things is far too conspicuous." He spoke softly, but it felt like a needle piercing my palm. Later, his business started to take off. The people around me have changed, from friends who shared box lunches to investors, Rick second-generation heirs, and socialites in champagne-colored gowns. His mother met me for the first time, glanced at my ID badge, and gave a faint smile. Miss Genji's very good at winning over women into his line of work. I didn't hear anything positive. Zhu Yanli didn't speak up for me either. Later, at his birthday party, someone joked and asked me if I spent every day at the lingerie store picking out styles that men would like for women. Everyone at the table burst into laughter. Zhu Yanli sat at the head of the table, holding his drink, his gaze not meeting mine that night. He gave me a white dress when I went home. "Next time you meet my friends, just dress more simply. Don't be too much like a sales assistant." I laid my dress on the sofa and watched him for a long time. He rubbed his temples wearily. Sure, I've been exhausted lately. Please don't make a fuss over a single comment." I said, "Then let us break up." He looked up at me as if he'd just heard an unfunny joke. "Here you go again with that same old trick." I picked up my bag and walked out of the apartment we had chosen together. He didn't. T chase after. 3 years later, he came to Mishap with his new girlfriend. The girl is younger, prettier, and more flirtatious than me, and everything she wears is expensive. That's exactly how she'd look right now. Sharaway walked out of the fitting room, wrapped in the silk robe I had just handed her. She walked up to Zhou Yanli and turned around once. "Ali, what about this one?" Zhou Yanli's gaze swept over her, then quickly settled on me. "Not bad." Sharaway linked her arm with his, whining in a coquettish tone. "You just said Miss Sistra's better taste than me. Then let sister pick again. And you, just say it. It's okay." Zhou Yanli finally looked away. "If you like it, get it." He handed over a black card. I reached out and took it. The card brushed against my fingertips when he suddenly pressed down on the other end. "Fincy." I looked up. "Is there anything else you need?" "Mr. Zhou." He looked at me, his voice dropping a little. 3 years apart. "And this is how you talk to me." I smiled. "During work hours. I only speak to clients. This way." Sharaway's gaze swept between us. Her smile grew even sweeter. "So, you two know each other." I released the card. "A regular." Zhou Yanli's expression darkened for a moment. It turned and walked toward the cash register behind me. Sharaway said softly, "Ali, sis is so cool." Zhou Yanli remained silent. I'll print out the bill. 6 undergarments, 2 nightgowns, and 1 silk robe. The total price is $276,000. Excellent. An adult's dignity sometimes shows when an ex comes into your shop to humiliate you, and you still manage to smile and make a fortune from them. 2. As soon as they left, the shop assistant, Xiao Tan, immediately settled up. "Jijia, was that guy your ex?" I slipped the receipt into the ledger. "Yeah," she gasped. No wonder that woman's pick-me-girl vibes were so strong I wanted to call the police. Another shop assistant away also lowered her voice. "And she deliberately made you go in to adjust the shoulder strap. That's so gross." I glanced toward the entrance. Joey and Lee's car was still parked outside the mall, a black Bentley. Before getting in, Sire Vei turned back and gave me a deliberate wave. I smiled back at her. Xiao King gritted her teeth in anger. "Sister how can you still manage to smile?" "Just closed a deal for 276,000, I said, after deducting the store commission. I'll treat you all to hot pot tonight." Xiao Qin paused for a moment, then immediately began toplod. "Sister, you so gracious." Away smiled. 2. The atmosphere in the store finally eased up, but standing behind the register, my fingers still felt a little cold. Not because of Joey and Lee, it was because the moment he walked in, I still found myself recalling the past. I thought of Joey and Lee, who accompanied me on the last subway ride and bent down Tomas Sage my ankle. I remember that night when his startup failed. I bought tunajiri from a 24-hour convenience store and went home. He was sitting in the hallway, his eyes red like a dog drenched in rain. He said, "Xiangxi, Ami just useless." I held him, my words choked with tears. "You, only 26. So what if you fail once? I'll take care of you." In the end, he really did win. But after his victory, the first thing he cast aside was me, the one who had promised to take care of him. At closing time, I locked the glass door for the night. When I turned around, I saw Joey and Lee standing by the pillar. The cold white light from the mall's ceiling fell on his shoulders, making his entire figure appear washed out. I paused for half a second. "Mr. Zhou, the story is closed." He walked over. "Let's talk. My time after work is valuable." "How valuable?" He barely hesitated. "He hasn't. Tea changed a bit. It seems like money can solve everything these days." I looked at him. "So expensive you can Tafford it." His expression turned cold. "Qingxi, did you have to say something so cutting?" I took out my phone to call a ride. "Zhou Yanli, we broke up 3 years ago. I appreciate you bringing your girlfriend to my shop today." "There's nothing else to talk about." Hestered at me, a deep irritation in high Z's. "She doesn't know you." My ex laughed. "Is Mr. Zhou really that naive?" Do you think the things she said today were just random remarks? He frowned. Sirue is straightforward by nature. I looked up at him. I almost burst out laughing at that moment. He used to do the same thing. His friends made jokes about my work, but he said they didn't mean any harm. His mother's words were laced with sarcasm, but he explained it away as the old lady just being blunt. The female investor he recently met texted him late at night, but he claimed it was just about discussing a project. When men defend someone, their excuses are always rather plain. Straight, no offense, just doing my job. Well then, I wish you both a straightforward journey. The car Ishra. I pulled the car door open, but Joe Yanli suddenly grabbed my wrist. His grip was heavy, but it was urgent. Ching-shi, how have you been these past few years? I looked down at his hand. He let go his knife. Been burned. I rubbed my wrist. Good. How are you liking the job so far? I looked at him. Zhou Yanli. I am the manager of this shop now. East China region top sales this year. Next month I'll be going to Paris for brand training. The things he once looked down on now support me, give me dignity, and let me stand firm. I paused for a moment, so I really like it. His gaze gradually darkened. I never looked down on you back then. What is that? His lips pressed into a thin line. He didn't answer for a long time. Just before I closed the car door for him, I said softly, you just can't stand the sight of me standing beside you. As the car pulled away, I saw him, still standing there in the rearview mirror, tall and silent, like a tree that has finally realized spring is long gone. 3. The next day, Seo Rue topped the trending topics. The title is quite intriguing. Seo Rue tries on clothes at a luxury boutique while Joey only accompanies Herto pick out an anniversary gift in the photo. She wearing our store's silk robe, holding Joey only's hand, and smiling sweetly. Half of my profile is in the shot. I stood by, holding her coat hanger with a professional posture and a calm expression. The comments section is buzzing. Mr. Show is so doting. He actually went with his girlfriend to buy lingerie himself. Seo Rue has a great figure. She looks good in anything she wears. The sales girl next to her is so pretty. She's got that cool, aloof, bossy woman vibe. LOL. The store clerk has more of a backstory than Seo Rue. Shop Tan was absolutely thrilled when she handed me her phone. Sis, you re-trending. It took a quick glance. This kind of fame is useless. It is useful, she said immediately. Just now, 3 customers called to book appointments for your styling services. That's actually quite useful. The shop is fully booked for the afternoon. A few customers recognized him the moment they walked in. You, wreath manager from the photo, right? Could you help me pick out something suitable for an anniversary? I greeted them with a smile. When work gets busy, there's no time to dwell on the past. It was in until evening that the brand's regional director arrived. Her surname was Chin, in her early 40s, with short hair and a sharp, efficient air. She rarely visited the store. After entering, she first reviewed the sales reports, then the appointment log, and only then did she turn her attention to home. Chinji, was that yesterday's order from Joey only? I nodded. She asked bluntly, have you two met before? Ex-director Chin raised an eyebrow. Lad. It's been 3 years since we broke up. She closed the report. I don't get involved in personal matters. However, Seo Rue Studio contacted the brand SPR team this morning, expressing interest in collaborating on a couple's exclusive styling video with us. My fingers paused. Mr. Chin looked at me. She specifically asked for you to be on camera. Shout and gasp beside me. It gave me a slight smile. Seo Rue is even more idle than I imagined. Yesterday, at store was enough. Today I'm bringing the humiliation to the camera. Mr. Chin asked, are you up for it? Before I could even speak, she added, you can refuse if you don't. Want to take it. The company won. Let our store manager suffer for one influencer client. Hearing that, I felt a warm glow inside. 3 years ago, When I was working at another store and a customer harassed and complained about me, the manager's first reaction was to make me apologize, saying the customer spends a lot. We can't afford to offend them now. Mr. Chin is asking me first whether I want to. I said, got it. Xiao Ten was getting anxious. Sister G. I looked at Mr. Chin. If this video turns out well, it could drive a wave off her orders. If Xiao Rui wants to play, I'll play with her. Mr. Chin looked at me and smiled. Okay, but I want you to remember one thing. You, the brand manager, not her backdrop. I nodded. The video shoot is scheduled for 3 days from now. The location is still a tour store. Yao Rui quickly posted a teaser on Weibo. It was my first time doing a couple's private gift shoot with Ollie, and I felt a bit shy. Thanks to the store manager for helping me with the guidance. The accompanying image is a selfie she took in the fitting room at the mirror's edge. I deliberately let Miss Silhouette show. The comments section is predictably going off on tangents. The store manager's sister showed up again. This lady really has such great presence. Is Xiao Rui being a bit fake? Calling her sister feels a bit off. You, overthinking it. It's pretty normal for girls to call each other sis. After reading, I turned off my phone that evening after getting home and taking a shower. I sat on the rug with a face mask on revising the shooting schedule. My phone vibrated. It was an unknown number. Done. Answer that video call from Xia Rui. I stared at it for a couple of seconds. Xia Yanli. I replied, Mr. Zhou, private advice outside working hours will not be considered. He called back shortly. I didn't. Answer. He sent again. She doesn't know when to stop. I typed, so you can teach her this time. He remained silent for a long while. Around midnight, he sent a message. Chun Shi. Done. Put yourself in that position. I stared at the sentence, then smiled. 3 years ago, he said something similar. Done. Run a lingerie shop anymore. Done. Mention that you sell these in front of my friends. Done. Put yourself in that position. He always felt that positions had hierarchies, but I insist on standing right here, dressed in a black suit with a silver brooch. She stands amidst the dazzling array of lace and silk, telling every woman who walks in that what they buy need not be to please anyone. Also, tell Zhou Yanli, long since stopped waiting for his approval, for on the day off the shoot, Xia Rui was 40 minutes late. She wore a white strap dress with a short sweater layered over it, her makeup light and natural, giving her an innocent look on camera. Zhou Yanli entered. With her, he wore a black shirt today, his eyes colder than last time. When he saw me, his gaze lingered for a moment. Xia Rui immediately linked arms with him. Sorry, late. Sis, the traffic was terrible. I smiled. No worries. The crew just finished setting up the lights. The photographer was already fuming with impatience. But not about to hand her ammunition on camera. Xia Rui looked toward the display stand. Today's theme is a boyfriend helping his girlfriend pick out an anniversary gift. Sis, which one do you think Ollie would like me to wear? I handed her the first outfit. This pearl white one looks great on camera. Very clean and elegant. She took it and glanced at it. Would it be too plain? If you looking for a bolder style, Miss Xia, you might also try this burgundy set. Her eyes lit up as she took it. Try the burgundy first. An action. She's a natural at playing cute for the camera. Ollie, no peeking. Zhou Yanli sat on the sofa and gave a faint, non-committal hum. I stood to the side of the camera, waiting for her to change before adjusting the outer robe. For the first outfit, she said the chest reddened. Fit properly. For the second outfit, she said she didn't know how to the sash. For the third outfit, she kept the camera rolling and asked me to go in and adjust her strap behind the curtain. Her voice, Ching sister, do you think I am being childish? I raked up to adjust the strap on her shoulder. Miss Yao's shoulder is slanted, short in the right side by half an inch. She let out a soft laugh. You, really professional, a salaried employee. She turned to look at me in the mirror. She was young and beautiful, but her eyes held no sweetness. How long were you and Ollie together. My hands kept moving. Customer privacyism. T something we can discuss. She snorted. 3 years. I looked up. She said, he used a photo of you in his wallet. I asked him who it was, and he said it was someone from his past. Sister Ching. When someone from the past reappears, it can easily make the person in the present feel uneasy. I buttoned her up for her. Then you should speak with Mr. Joe. You shouldn't. T take it out on the staff. Her face stiffened. I pulled back the curtain and stepped out off frame. Sirui immediately put on a sweet smile again and walked up to Joe Yanley. Ollie, does it look good? Joe Yanley glanced at her. Not bad. She patted. So, did my sister pick better for me, or did you? His gaze fell upon me. She always had a good eye. Always. Those 2 words were too telling. The photographer lens was still rolling. Siri smile finally began to falter. She walked over to me, as if joking. No wonder Ollie remembered it for so long with your excellent taste. Sis, the atmosphere in the shop instantly turned chilly. Xiao Ting clenched the clothes hanger beside her. I look into the camera. Cut this part. Sierra blinked. Why? I was just kidding. Joey only spoke up suddenly. Sierra. His voice was not loud, yet it carried a warning. Sierra's eyes instantly welled up. Did I say something wrong again? I just think me sister is amazing. She looked into the camera. Her expression a mix of hurt and relief and understanding. Maybe Weshold call it a day. Her words hung in the air, leaving the crew in an awkward silence. The brand PR representative standing nearby frowned. I walked up to the camera and signaled to cut. Then it turned my gaze to Sierra. Miss Xia, if you don't want to continue filming, we can stop right now. However, this collaboration was initiated by your studio, and the brand accommodated you by adjusting store hours and staffing. If the project is halted midway, the client will be responsible for covering the venue and labor costs as stipulated in the contract. She froze. You, trying to pressure me with the contract. I smiled. I am using the contract to protect my colleagues. Everyone waited with you for 40 minutes and spent 3 hours shooting with you. If you don't want to shoot, fine, settle a bill. Joey only looked at me, his gaze deep. Sierra's face flushed pale and then flushed red, alternating in color. Finally, she bit her lip and said, action. This time she behaved much better, but in the final shot, Joey only had to fasten the buttons of her outer robe for her. She stood beneath the lamp, tilting her head up slightly to look at him. But as he fastened the second button, he suddenly stopped. Her gaze went past her and landed on me. I was standing by the monitor watching the feed. The photographer whispered a reminder. Mr. Joe, look at Miss Xia. Joey only snapped back to reality. Sierra's face fell completely 5. Before the video was even released, Sierra had already bought press coverage. Each headline is more compelling than the last. Sierra and Joey only. Couple editorial featuring a luxury boutique manager. Professional cameo. Boss Joe personally accompanied Xiao Rue in picking out a private gift, leaving her blushing with sweetness. The manager's gaze is so steady, it makes every office worker green with envy. I just found it funny after reading it. Xiao Ten was furious. How does her studio manage to get so much free exposure? Awei said, all the top comments are praising sister She. She must be fuming. Absolutely. After the behind-the-scenes video dropped, I gained a lot of followers. Some praised my professionalism. Others asked about store appointments. And a few even dug up that I was once the brand's national sales champion. People have started speculating about my relationship with Zhou Yanli. The way President Zhou looks at the store manager is a bit off. That always has great taste comment is loaded with subtext. Xiao Rue doesn't. Seem like the real deal. More like she's forcing the act. Rich boyfriend and ex-store manager. So dramatic. Love it. Mr. Chung instructed PR to keep an eye on public sentiment. I went to work as usual. Unexpectedly, it was Zhou Yanli's mother who came knocking first. She arrived at the shop just as I was taking a customer's measurements. Xiao Ten Camion. 2. Get me and she looked rather pale. Sister, she. There. S.A. Madam. Zhou outside asking to see you. I helped the customer straighten her outer robe and handed her over to away. When I stepped out, Mrs. Zhou was seated on the sofa, a Birkin bag resting beside her. 3 years had passed, yet she hadn't. Tea changed a bit. Her hair was coiled in an immaculate bun. Her pearl earrings glowed softly, and her gaze held its perpetual air of scrutiny. Miss Chung. I smiled. Mrs. Zhou, would you like to see the new arrivals? She frowned. I am coming to find you. Business hours are for clients only. Her expression darkened. You, V become sharper tone than before. I always was. You just never gave me a chance to speak. Madam Zhou sneered coldly. Do you think a few compliments online will make Yanli take you back? I looked at her. Suddenly, it all felt rather tedious. Done. Tea worry. Once I let something go, I never look back. Her expression grew even more grim. Qingshi, when you were with Yan Li back then, you didn't help him in the slightest. Now, the people around him at least come from clean, respectable backgrounds. Ones you can be proud to introduce. I laughed. Does Miss Xia know you? Repraising her like that. Mrs. Zhou choked. I continued. 3 years ago, you looked down on me for selling underwear. 3 years later, you sat in me shop and said my profession wasn't good enough. Mrs. Zhou, you may not have understood. Every item here has a clearly marked price. Same here. You can afford my respect. So don't even think about taking my time. Mrs. Zhou sprang to her feet. Qingshi, all the customers in the shop turned to look. I continued to smile serenely. Xiao Tan, please see our guest out. Xiao Tan immediately walked over. Mrs. Zhou, this way, please. Mrs. Zhou was so angry that her hands trembled. Before leaving, she lowered her voice. Don, regret it. I looked at her. I regretted it once. 3 years ago. Regretted being too polite back then. She slammed the door and left. Xiao Tan turned around and gave me a thumbs up. Sis, sure, you were absolutely killing it just now. I rubbed my temples. Looking good is exhausting. Xiao Tan immediately went to get me some water. That evening, Zhou Yanli arrived. He was clearly aware that Mrs. Zhou had visited during the day. He looked terrible when he walked in. The shop is closed. I am checking the inventory. He stood at the doorway watching me. My mom came to see you. V entered the last item into the system. What did she say? You can ask her when you get home. He pressed his lips together. Qingshi, I apologize on her behalf. I shut down the computer. No need. He took a step forward. I didn't know she was coming. Zhou Yanli. There. Always so much Yudon. No. I looked up at him. You have no idea what she said about me 3 years ago. Yudon. Know how your friends make jokes about my work. Yudon. Know how the people around you look at me like I am a joke. You still don't. Know that Xia Ru AI came to the shop to provoke me, or that your mother came to me workplace to humiliate me. His face gradually paled. I picked up my bag. You knew all along. I just didn't want to deal with it. Wait until the problem lands right in your lap. Then you can say you sorry. Zhu Yanli. Adam. Sapple bobbed. I was in the wrong back then. That sentiment has expired. Haizi's grew slightly red. Qingji. Back then, I thought that if I could just secure my footing, I could bring you to a better place. But the higher I climbed, the more I feared you would become the subject of their gossip. I looked at him. So, your solution for me is to have me hide. He had nothing to say. I walked past him. He suddenly asked in a low voice, "Who's that person?" I stopped. What person? The person on your phone. Lock screen. I was momentarily stunned. It just occurred to me that my phone lit up once during yesterday. Shoot. Miss Screensaver is a photo of me and Wen Yixing. Wen Yixing is an independent designer collaborating with the brand. And he is also the person closest to me now. In the photo, he stands on a Parisian street, holding 2 cups of coffee. Stood beside him, laughing with ease. Zhu Yanli's question was soft, yet it carried a huskiness he couldn't quite suppress. Your boyfriend. I looked at them. Does it have anything to do with you? He blinked his eyes. Yes. Qingji. I regret it. I smiled. I don't sell regret remedies anymore. 6. When Yixing returned home the day before the video was officially released, he called me as soon as he landed. The sound carried the echo of airport announcements. Manager Chin, I heard your ex and their new partner teamed up to get you trending. I am counting the newly arrived inventory at the store. You, quick to get the news. It's all over Paris. That's so embarrassing. It's not embarrassing. He laughs. It's beautiful. When Yixinji's always straight to the point. He is an independent lingerie designer who studied design in France in his early years and later collaborated with our brand on a collection 2 years ago. He came to the store to conduct new product training. Everyone was focused on the model and the cut, but I was the one with a measuring tape asking him why the strap curve in the Asian line still leans toward a Western silhouette. He was taken aback for a moment. After the training, he came to see me. What's your name? Shinji. Interested in being a fittister. I said yes. After that, I became his go-to fit consultant for every seasonal adjustment to the Asia line, from strap curvature and cup support to skin tone matching in real-world wearability. We argued about it all countless times. When he first asked me out to dinner, I thought he wanted to discuss business. But then he said, Shinji, I like you. I almost spat out my water. He said, you don't have to answer right away. I can wait in line. I wasn't ready to start a new relationship yet. He actually lined up. It's been almost a year you via Binterfom, through gallery visits, late nights rearranging displays, and handling difficult customers in the shop. He never pushes me, only occasionally, when I am so busy I forget to eat. Will they leave a bowl of hot porridge in the break room? I asked him what he was after. He said, hoping you LL one day see me. I see it now. Just missing the official nod. When Wenishing arrived at the shop, he was wearing a long black coat and carrying a bouquet of white tulips. Shadian's eyes lit up when she saw him. Professor Wen. He smiled and handed meth flowers. Here to show my support for Manager Chine. I accepted the flowers. No Shoto support today. He looked toward the door. And what about the one at the door? I followed his gaze. She stood outside the shop. He must have just arrived. His expression visibly darkened when he saw Weinishing. Weinishing looked down and asked me, do you need me to step out? I said, no. Shiemi walked in, his gaze falling on the bouquet of flowers. Shinji, I placed the flowers by the checkout counter. What can I get for you today, Mr. Zhua? He looked at Wen Yixing. And who is this? Wen Yixing reached out first. Act upon what you hear. Cheng Shi's admirer. The shop fell silent. Shop 10 nearly dropped the hanger. I was stunned. 2. Wen Yixing, on the other hand, seemed quite at ease. Zhuo Yanli did not shake his hand. His gaze was icy cold. An admirer. Wen Yixing withdrew his hand without any hint of embarrassment. I am still on probation. I couldn't help but look at them. He looked down and gave me a smile. Zhuo Yanli's voice dropped. Qingxi, we not finished talking. I said, we have nothing to discuss. You think it's that simple. A flicker of chaos finally surfaced in his eyes. It's been 3 years. And you, never once asked how I been. You deleted all my contact info, moved away, changed jobs, and even cut off our mutual friends. Qingxi, how can you just cut it off like that? I looked at him, because I was the one who said we should break up back then. I told you, and you didn't. Come after me. His face turned deathly pale. I thought you were just angry at the time. So, you were waiting for me to come back on my own. He was speechless. I said, Zhuo Yanli, I am not something you left behind in your old apartment. I go back to look whenever I remember. And if I can, find it. I feel out of control. When Yixing stood bisolently, not interjecting a word until Zhuo Yanli looked at him. Do you know about her and me here and act upon the teachings? Know a little. Then why are you still chasing after it? When Yixing gave a slight smile, who she liked before doesn't change how I feel about her. But if someone still makes her uncomfortable now, it would be a problem. Zhuo Yanli's gaze turned even colder. What gives you the right to speak for her? When Yixing said calmly, because I just asked her if she needed me to leave. She said it wasn't necessary. My heart gave a little flutter. Zhuo Yanli understood, too. Her rarely used to ask if I needed anything. He decides for me what jobs are respectable, what clothes are appropriate, which people I should see, and which words I should swallow. To hear is to act. To act is to question, even if it's just an evasion. Ivistilask. Zhu Yanli stood for a long time. Finally, he placed a bag on the checkout counter. It's our store. Packaging bag. What Su Rue bought that day. It's still sealed. His voice, wastrably hoarse. She said, she wants to return it. I took a glance. Underwear cannot be returned or exchanged once it leaves the store. He said in a low voice. I just wanted to bring it back. It's meaningless. I said, Zhu Yanli, you paid for it when we bought it. It has nothing to do with me now. His fingers tightened at the edge of the bag. After a long while, he turned and walked away. When Yixing watched his retreating figure and suddenly said, he looks like he's about to fall apart. I couldn't help but laugh. You have quite a way with words. Does that break your heart? I looked at him. His question was soft, but his gaze was earnest. I shook my head. I didn't feel sorry for him. When Yixing smiled, so, can I take you to dinner tonight? I said, yes. His eyes lit up. A celebration dinner. I looked at him. Inspection meal. He sighed. All right. We already waited in line for a year. What? One more meal. 7. Su Rue's video was finally released, and the reception was fantastic. It was so good that her studio deleted Too Passive-Aggressive behind the scenes clips the same day because in the final cut, Mishits were too steady. I didn't steal her spotlight, nor did I show any signal of unprofessionalism. I simply explained in the calmest tone which body type each set of lingerie suits, how to adjust it, how to pair it with outerwear, and the most important line, intimate apparatus first and foremost for your own comfort. Being liked by others is happiness. Feeling at ease with yourself is what truly matters. This was edited into a short video and got widely shared. The comments section was flooded with praise like, the manager is so wise. Xiaorue's fans initially accused me of riding on her coattails for clout, but then it got shut down by randomatizers. The video was posted by Xiaorue herself. The shop manager was just doing her job. The most awkward part was the male lead staring at the shop manager the whole time while Xiaorue was still forcing her cutsy act. President Zhao acts as the shop manager. Sister, right, I'll bet a pack of spicy strips on it. Xiaorue's move is like launching her ex-'s sister into stardom. Boss Ching called me. Bookings are through the roof. Headquarters has taken notice, too. We'd like you to give a public lecture at next quarter's Asia Line fitting event. I held my phone, pausing for a moment. Me, right. Mr. Chung smiled. Chung, sure. We always said that in-store sales is about more than just moving product. Well, now, Sire Chance. I looked around the store. Xiao Tan was pouring water for a customer while Wei tidied up the fitting room. The light fell softly upon rose and lace. This job was once looked down upon by Zhao Yanli. It even led to him being subjected to crude jokes at dinner parties. But now it's lifting Mook bit by bit. Let me stand in front of the camera and tell more women how to see their bodies again. I said, I'll take it. The lecture is scheduled for 1 month from now, when Yixing has become a collaborating designer and will also attend together upon hearing the news. His first reaction was, so, does that mean I can officially stay late with you? I said, we been here plenty enough already. We on different levels. What's your status? He looked at me. Suitor and collaborating designer. I can't help but laugh. You have a clear sense of who you are. He placed a hot latte on my desk. Clarity is best so no one thinks they can cut in line. I glanced at him. Wen Yixing, you can be sarcastic, too. He smiled gently. Occasionally, Zhao Yanli came by a few more times after that. He never brought xiarue. He always brought something with him. Sometimes it was a robe, sometimes a fragrance, sometimes a gift box. I treat everyone as a client. Xia Ting whispered to me, Sis she, who, she buying all this for? I said, Aiden. Tino. It was only later that I found out he had left everything in his office. Not a single one was delivered. It was as if he were trying to make up for a long overdue apology with his spending. But I don't. T need it. Xia. Rue broke up with him 2 weeks later. She posted a cryptic Weibo update. Some people are haunted by the past. No matter how hard you try, you can compete. The comments section quickly guessed it was Joey Only that evening. Joey Only appeared downstairs at my apartment building when I got out of the car. When she was seeing me off, they bumped into each other head-on. The air was so quiet it was almost funny. Joey Only saw Only she holding my laptop bag, his gaze turning heavy and intense. Are you two together? When she looked at me, he didn't answer for me. I said, still under consideration. Often smile touched when she lips. Joey Only face grew even paler. She, Xiarue, and I have broken up. I nodded. Oh, the words seemed to sting him. ISN. There anything else you? D like Tosi. Wishing you, smooth, sailing ahead. He gave a bitter smile. Do you have Tobe like this? Joey Only. Your breakup has nothing to do with me. He took a step forward. What if I told you I want to win you back? When she finally lifted his eyes, I held his arm. 2. Silence him. Then he looked at Joey Only. Don. Follow. Why? Because I didn't. Want to look back. Joey Only. Sayez reddened. I can change. She. You understand now what you want. I shook me head. You have no idea. You only know what you lost. As these words landed, he seemed to freeze completely. I walked past him. When she walked beside him, before stepping into the elevator, I glanced back. Joey Only was still standing there. This time, I didn't hold back as the elevator doors closed. When she suddenly asked, Why did you stop me just now? I said, I was afraid you start yelling at me. He said, I didn't yell at people. I raised any brow. Really? When said seriously, I can only say that I am chasing you knowest like a customer trying to return an outdated, out-of-season item. I let out a laugh. When you such a jerk. He looked down at me, a light shining in his eyes. As long as it made you smile. 8. On the day of the lecture, the turnout was larger than expected. The event theme is called Personal Possessions. For simple words, audience members included brand clients, media representatives, influencers, and many ordinary girls who had signed up specifically to attend. I stood on stage for the first time, not behind the counter. As the light fell upon me, my palms grew slightly damp. When sat beside him and handed me a pen, stressed, it whispered a little. He lowered his voicey as well. You were way calmer when you cursed Shoei and Emily's mom. Last time I almost broke character and laughed. His one remark dispelled most off my nervousness. The lecture begins with a discussion on common sizing misconceptions, followed by support methods for different body types, and concludes with topics on intimate apparel and self-awareness. A girl raised her hand and asked, What if my boyfriend thinks this kind of thing icily meaningful if I wear it for him? The audience fell silent. I am holding a microphone. Then ask yourself first, do you feel comfortable wearing it? The girl froze. I continued, There's nothing wrong with wanting to be admired by the one you love. There's nothing wrong with wanting to please your partner. But remember, a piece of intimate clothing touches your own skin first. It belongs to you first. Only then does the charm and fondness become unique to that particular bond. Someone in the audience gave a soft round of applause. I saw a girl lowering her head and wiping her eyes. In that moment, I suddenly felt I had come a long way from a sales assistant mocked for selling such things to a store manager standing on stage saying, It belongs to you first. After it was over, a lot of people came up to take pictures with me. When Yixing stood by, holding my coat and water, someone recognized him. Professor Wen, you and Manager Chin make such a great couple. When Yixing gave a light chuckle, I am still waiting in line. The crowd immediately started teasing them. Myers are hot. The event ended in general. Manager Chin patted me on the shoulder. Well said. I breathed a sigh of relief. Just didn't. He embarrassed the company. Chinsher, she looked at me. The company wants to transfer you to headquarters. It froze. Headquarters. Customer experience. Consultant for Asia region. Let's try it for a year first. You. Rule come to continue collaborating with Winishing. Design line if you. Delight. I was at a loss for words. This is much faster than I expected. Mr. Chin gave a slight smile. You done. Have to answer right away. Think it over. That evening, the celebration dinner was at a small tavern. Xiao Tan had a couple of drinks, then hugged me and cried, Jia, once you go to the headquarters, will you stop taking care of us? She was squeezing me so tight I could barely breathe. I am just going to headquarters, not on a pilgrimage to the western heavens. Away. Eyes were ulcered. So, will you come back? I nodded. I will. When Yixing sat across from me, looking at me with a gentle gaze. After dinner, he whisked me home. The car was parked downstairs, and he didn't. He opened the door right away. An opportunity at headquarters. Should we go for it? I gazed out the window. I want to go. Then go. What about you? He smiled. My studio is in Shanghai, not far from the headquarters. I turned to look at them. Wen Yixing, have you been waiting a long time for me to ask this? His ears turned red. A little. Afraid that once I go to headquarters, I won. To make your position permanent. His eyed. Yes. I smiled, then reached out and gently took hold Ophi's wrist. He froze in place. I said, hearing leads to action. The being made permanent. He froze for 2 seconds, as if he didn't. Understand? I said again, boyfriend. His eyes slowly lit up and then he laughed. It was this usual gentle, restrained smile. It was a goofy grin. I did never seen him like that before. He looked down at my hand, holding his voice a little hoarse. Can I have a hug? I nodded. He held me gently. Be very careful, as if cradling a precious garment whose ownership has just been settled. I leaned against his shoulder, and suddenly I felt my body grow light. It turns out that starting a new relationship doesn't have to be a grand, dramatic affair. It could be a bowl of warm congee, a bouquet of white tulips, or a quiet offer to give you some space. Another person had been waiting in line for a long time and finally heard me say, all right, you, next. 9. Joey Amla found out I was going to headquarters only after the official announcement was posted. The brand's official account posted a recap of the lecture and also announced my appointment as the customer experience consultant for their Asia line. The comments section was filled with congratulations. When Yixing reposted that Weibo post, nice working with you, Consultant Shen. I replied to him, please take care of me, Teacher Wen. The comment section is blowing up. Is this an official announcement? Will the cute designer finally get a permanent position? Shin, consultant and teacher would make a great pair. Joey didn't give it a like, but half an hour later he messaged me, congratulations. I looked at those 2 words and replied, thank you. He sent another message. I used to be so stupid. I didn't. Reply. It was a long time before he sent another message. You look great on stage. I still haven't. Replied. When I came home in the evening, he was standing at the entrance of my residential complex, this time headed. Stopped me, just standing at a distance. I approached Joey His gaze fell upon the flowers in my hand, sent by Wen Yixing. White tulip. I've come to say goodbye. He was taken aback. He whispered, I am going to London for 6 months to handling overseas project. Oh, he gave a small smile. You, still the same. Chin sure. I've been thinking about the past a lot lately. I remember the first time you got a bonus and treated me to Japanese food. I remember how you stand at the counter all winter until your feet swelled, then come home and still help me edit my PowerPoint. I remembered how you glanced at me when my mother said your job was respectable. Heises were red with tears. I avoided it back then. I always feel like once I'm a little stronger, I'll be able to protect you. When I finally made something of myself, the first thing I learned was to be ashamed of you in front of others. The night breeze is gentle. I looked at him. We waited for that line before, until the night we broke up on moving day. Also waited until the early morning to delete all his contact information. But now, hearing it feels like listening to a story from a distant past. I said, sure, I really did love you once. His tears fell instantly. I continued, so much that it thought we could spend a lifetime together, even if all we had was instant noodles. But later, you made me feel like me presence by your side was an embarrassment to you. It took me 3 years to fully get over this. So Don, do you look back at me anymore? I don't. Do you want to look back at you either? He lowered his head, his shoulders giving a slight tremble. Ish good to you, I said. Very. Better than I was. I gave a faint smile. Sure, Don. T ask questions like that. You, LL lose and it won. T be pretty. Hesmold. Too. Laughing so hard it hurts. All right. I won. T ask. He pulled Asmal box out of his pocket. I was going to give this to you 3 years ago. I didn't. T answer. He opens it. Inside was a silver ring. It's very simple. No drill. The inner circle is engraved with 2 letters. QZ. Sure, he said. Back then, I couldn't afford anything better than when you had money. You felt it wasn't good enough for you. Now I realize it wasn't good enough. He closed the box. I won. Give it to you. I just wanted you to know that I once seriously thought about a future with you. I looked at that box. There. A slight soreness in my chest. Light and subtle, like an old wound aching briefly on a cloudy day. I said, then keep it. A reminder to never lose your sincerity again. He nodded. All right. He turned and walked off into the night. This time, I stood there and watched for a while until his figure faded from view. Then I lowered my head and breathed in the scent of the white tulips in my arms. The flowers are fragrant. It's also quite new. 10. Working at headquarters is busier than imagined. Client interviews, pattern testing, regional training, and store visits since transitioning from store manager to consultant. I find myself in the fitting room even more often. Sometimes it's to adjust samples on models. Other times it's to listen to feedback from real customers. When ishing, studio is a 20-minute drive from the headquarters. He gets even more frantic than I do when busy. We often meet in video calls at 1:00 a.m. He's got a table full of fabrics, while we got a pile of reports. He said, Consultant Shin, dating is like working remotely. I said, Ms. Wen, you could apply for a transfer to the office below mine. The next day, he actually showed up at the cafe downstairs from headquarters, laptop in hand, and sat there the whole afternoon. When I saw him after work, I almost burst out laughing. You actually came. He looked up. Execution is a designer. Virtue. He ordered a hot latte for me. There was a little kitten drawn on the cup sleeve. I looked at it for a long time. What is this? Do I look like a cat? He said earnestly. Looks like it. It looks gold. But once it's familiar. LL step in you. He made me laugh in exasperation. The data was strong on the day the first project at headquarters went live. Customer satisfaction with the try-on feedback for the new Asia line is much higher than last season. Mr. Chin singled me out for praise during the meeting. After the meeting ended, I slipped into the restroom and sent a message to Wenxingshin. I got a compliment today. He replied instantly. Advisor Chin is quite impressive. I stared at those words and laughed for a long time. It turns out that being seen putting in effort is like a simple and genuine kind of happiness. No need to prove you worthy of anyone. Don, to worry about your career making anyone feel ashamed. When Wenxingshin came topic me up, he brought a box of cake. I asked, what are we celebrating? Celebrating you getting praised. Is this even worth celebrating? Of course. He opened the box to find Asmal chestnut cake inside. You said you liked it last time. I was momentarily stunned. I just mentioned offhand one day while passing a bakery that I rarely had chestnut-flavored cakey as a kid, but now that I'm older, I find it more fragrant than cream. He remembered. I picked up the fork and took a bite, just sweet enough. Hearing leads to action. How do you remember everything? He paused to think, because when you spoke, I was listening. Just this one sentence. I almost cried. He grew slightly flustered when he saw I wasn't saying anything. Too sweet. I shook my head, just in time. Later, we co-hosted our first public launch. The new series is titled Return to Yourself. Among them was a black silk nightgown, a sample that when Xingqian I revised through 5 iterations. It was designed to pander to a male gaze of sensuality. The straps were more secure, the waistline more relaxed, and the lace trim was placed away from areas prone to irritation. At the launch event, a reporter asked me, "Advisor Chin, what setting do you think this piece is most suited for?" I picked up the microphone. Perfect for a woman after a long day. Coming home, removing hair makeup, taking a shower, slipping into it, and finally feeling like herself again. The audience fell silent for a few seconds. Then, applause broke out. I saw Xingqian standing backstage. He looked at me, his eyes shining like lanterns. That night, he walked me home. We were the only 2 people in the elevator. He suddenly asked, "Fincy, can I kiss you?" My heart skipped a beat. He still looked at me, waiting for me reply. I smiled. Yes. He leaned down and kissed me. It was soft, restrained, like someone who has finally received permission. I closed my eyes. The elevator ascended slowly. All the silenced years of disrespect finally came to rest in this moment. Now I understand what it feels like to be truly cherished in a relationship. Not being possessed, even after being asked. Still approached with gentleness. 1 year later, the brand flagship store was upgraded. I returned to the original store to conduct the opening training. Xiao Tan has been promoted to assistant store manager. Seeing me, she rushed over and hugged me. "Sis, sure, I've missed you so much." Away also said with a smile. Advisor Ching is radiating an aura of absolute authority right now. I gazed at the familiar display cases and fitting rooms, suddenly feeling a bit dazed. A year ago, Shi Yanli stood here with Xiao Rui. She asked me which one Amon would like. Now, a new wall in the store bears a single line. "Please yourself first." Xiao Tan says, "This was personally revised by Mr. Qing. She said you were the one who said that." I raked out and touched the line off text. My heart feels so warm on opening day. Many guests and members of the press attended. When Shiqing was there, too, he stood out in the crowd, dressed in a dark suit. Xiao Tan whispered to me, "Sis, sure, do you think Mr. Wen will propose today?" I nearly choked on my water. "Don, tea talk nonsense." She looked positively gossipy. "He looks like he up to something." When Shiqing really did seem a bit off, no matter how busy he usually was. He always find a memento come over and chat with me. Yet today, he kept his distance the whole time, phone in hand, seemingly checking something. After the event concluded, Mr. Qing suddenly handed him the microphone. My heart skipped a beat. When Ziking stepped onto the stage, the tips of his ears were slightly flushed. One more personal matter today. The crowd below began to stir. I stood at the side off the stage, my fingers slowly tightening. He looked at me. "Chengyi, a year ago, I said I was still in line. Later, you made me a full-time employee this year. I realized the competition for the boyfriend position is pretty fierce, too." The room erupted in laughter. I laughed, too, but my eyes grew a little misty. He continued, "You love the work. You love the shop. You love helping more women realize they deserve to be treated well. I don't want you to stop for any relationship. That's why I want to ask you." He took a ring from his pocket. It was a very simple design, a silver white ring set with a tiny pearl in the center. "Should I keep holding our spoken line? Fiancé." The crowd's cheering and cheers were nearly loud enough to raise the roof. Xiao Tan was already crying. I looked at Wen Yixing. He didn't get down on one knee. He just stood there, waiting for earnestly, just like every time you asked me before, "Would you like me to step away?" Can I take you out for a meal? Can I have a hug? Can I kiss you? Now asking if he should keep his place in line. I walked over. I reached out my hand. Granted. Wen Yixing. Sayez reddened instantly. His hand trembled slightly as Hess slipped the ring onto my finger. It whispered, Don, be nervous. Professor Wen. He looked down and smiled. IRL, I am nervous this time. Applause and playful cheers rose together from the audience. I looked up and suddenly saw someone at the door. Zhu Yanli. Hess stood outside the crowd wearing a black coat. His face slightly pale, maybe just passing by. Perhaps he came on purpose. Yet he didn't. T approached. When he saw the ring on my finger, a flicker of pain crossed his eyes. Then, he gave me a slight nod. Very light, like a blessing or a farewell. I gave a slight nod. 2. Wen Yixing followed my gaze. Is he here? Yeah. Are you okay? I looked at him. Very good. He took my hand. That. Scoot. Zhu Yanli turned and walked away. This time, I didn't. Watch him leave because my hand was held firmly in someone else. Before me lay the lights, the applause, and the new life it had walked a long road to reach. 12 later, Zhou Yanli spent a long time abroad. He occasionally appears in financial news. He has become more composed and appears less frequently in the entertainment pages. Later, Xia got a new boyfriend and continued posting those sickly sweet couple videos. She never came back to Mishap. According to Xiao Tan, she once ran into Xia at another mall. Xiaoos spotted her from a distance and immediately changed course to avoid her. Xiao Tan laughed with smug satisfaction. Sis, she said, V finally reached the level where even the green tea girls steer clear of me. I said, you should watch lists of that nonsense online. She stuck her tongue out at me. Our wedding with Wincini was a small affair. No luxury cars lining the streets. No sensational trending topics. We only invited family, friends, and a few close colleagues from the store. The wedding gown was designed by his own hand. The satin is soft, the waistline ISN, T2 tight, and the back features delicate pearl buttons. On the day of the fitting, he stood behind me and fastened my buttons. Halfway, through buttoning, his hand suddenly stopped. I look at him through the mirror. What's wrong? His eyes were slightly red. It's so beautiful. I smiled. Does the designer really have that little confidence in their own work? He shook his head. Not a work. It's you. The night before the wedding, I went through my old belongings. Dig out that white dress from 3 years ago. It was sent by Zhou Yanli. The tag is still there. V been looking at it for a long time. When Cindy approached from behind, should we keep this? I shook me head. Go ahead and donate it. Headed. Ask who sent it. Just take it, fold it neatly, and place it in the donation box. I leaned against the wardrobe, staring at the box. Inside were old dresses, old bags, old high heels, and also the proof I couldn't bring myself to throw away for so many years. Proof that I was once chosen. 2. It proves that I, too, once believed I was just a step away from happiness. Now, we finally dawn. Need these anymore. At the wedding, Mr. Chin sat in the audience, Heizi's welling up, shouting in a way, sobs grief and more theatrical. When Yixing held my hand as we stood beneath the flower trellis, the host asked him if he had anything he wanted to say to the bride. He took the microphone and looked down at me. Chun, sure. From now on, I'll ask you first about anything personal, important, or that might cause you pain or pleasure. Someone in the audience laughed. There were also people applauding. My eyes suddenly stung with tears because this is the love I want. It's not about deciding what's decent for me, not hiding me in a place he thinks is safe. It's me who should be asked first. Would you like to? How comfortable is it? Do you want it or not? When it was a me turn, I took the microphone. Act upon what you hear. You won. Have to wait in line anymore. He looked at me with a smile. I went on. This is your stop. His eyes welled up completely. After getting married, I continued working at the headquarters. When Yixing continues to pursue design, when we, Rebasi, the house is often half filled with Meyer ports and half with his fabrics. Once, I worked late into the night and came home to find him asleep at the table, a cold cup of coffee resting by his hand. That scene was so reminiscent of the past. I stood at the door and my heart gave a faint twinge. When Yixing woke up, saw me, and rubbed his eyes. Back already. I walked over. He stood up immediately. Hungry. There. Still porridge in the pot. I looked at him. He didn't ask how my day was, nor did he complain about me coming home so late. He only remembers that I forget to eat. When I am busy, I hugged him. He paused for a moment, then quickly returned my embrace. What's wrong? I shook my head. It's fine. I just feel like things are good right now. He bent down and kissed my hair. Then let it stay that way. The city lights shine outside the window. I suddenly remembered years ago, in a high-end lingerie store, Servery standing behind the dressing room curtain, smiling and asking me which one a man would prefer. I kept a straight face as I explained lace, silk, and straps, too. Her now, looking back, it feels like a distant play. Whether men like it or not no longer matters. What matters is that I finally learned to love myself. I love my career. I love my body. I love being intimate in a way that respects them. And I love seeing myself gradually heal from old wounds. Leaning against window, I heard the gentle bubbling off bridge in the pot. The days were quiet and very warm, like a perfectly fitted piece of clothing. No tightness, no irritation, no sense of grievance. It simply enveloped me securely.